Welcome to Patscast. I'm Brad Whitaker. A brutal report card came out from the National Football League Players Association today, and the Patriots ranked near the bottom, in some cases the very bottom, in terms of what players are really looking for when they are with an NFL team. And I'll just start off reading the rankings and where they are in this report card because it is not looking good for this team. They're also coming off of a report card last year that was not very good as well, but it has gotten progressively worse since. So starting with treatment of players' families, they get an F grade, ranked 30th of 32 teams. Food cafeteria, they're right in the middle with a B minus grade, 15th overall. That is their best ranking on this entire report card. Is the cafeteria has mediocre food. Okay, so that's the best we can report. Nutritionist, dietitian, also a B minus grade, ranked 20th in the NFL. Their locker room, a C minus grade, 20th in the NFL as well. Training staff, B minus grade. That sounds okay, but that is also 25th in the NFL. So most teams have pretty good training staff. So even a B minus puts them near the bottom. Their weight room, dead last in the NFL, 32nd overall with an F grade. Strength coaches, C minus grade. That puts them at 31st in the NFL, second to last. Team travel, a D grade, 24th in the NFL. So a lot of teams with Fs that are below that, but 24th, still not very good. Their head coach with a B minus ranking, 27th in the NFL. Now, that's not Gerard Mayo, that is Bill Belichick. And ownership, a D plus ranking, 27th in the National Football League. And a few notes that came out of this: the players feel the quality of their weight room equipment is below average. And perhaps more importantly, players feel like they do not have enough space in the Gillette Stadium weight room to do their strength training. Patriots are also the only team in the NFL with a majority of players feeling that their team's facility is worse than places they could train off-site. Mind you, this is Foxborough, Massachusetts. You're still a distance from Boston, a little bit of a lesser distance from Providence. Isn't a lot around them, and even taking that into consideration, they think there are better off-site places to train, particularly when you get outside of the New England area, which I would assume a lot of these players spend their off-season at. Only 55% of players feel that former head coach Bill Belichick was efficient with their time. Now, this is a separate ranking from the head coach ranking at 27th overall. Bill Belichick, in terms of usage of players' time, ranked 31st overall. The only person with a worse ranking was Josh McDaniels with the Las Vegas Raiders, who basically got ran out by his players and fired by owner Al Davis because of it. So that's not looking very good for Bill Belichick, considering his disciple, who got ran out of town, was the only person who finished worse than him on this list. The players felt that Bill Belichick was rarely willing to listen to the locker room, 31st overall, only second to Josh McDaniels as well. Club owner Robert Kraft receives a rating of 6.9 out of 10 from Patriot players when considering his willingness to invest in the facilities. All right, so yes, the lighthouse is cool. We all like the lighthouse. Doesn't matter. The players aren't dealing with that. They're dealing with the locker room every day. They're dealing with the weight room. They're dealing with where their family goes on game day. And just to add to that, they are one of only 12 teams that do not provide a family room during games. Now, just to give you an idea, last year I ran marketing for the San Antonio Brahmas team, their lone year in the XFL. We even had a family room during games. So the Patriots do not even provide that, having an infinite amount of money relative to a small XFL team. Patriots were also one of just 7 teams that do not provide daycare support for players' children on game day. And when you combine the two, they are only one of 4 teams that do not offer either a family room or daycare. So we're heading into an off season, right, where we have a new head coach, pretty much a brand new coaching staff. Defense is staying somewhat the same, but they did elevate DeMarcus Covington to the DC role, lost Steve Belichick. We have some different front office, same members, but being run by Elliot Wolf now. Matt Groh taking on, I guess, a different role. But for the most part, everything is being revamped in terms of the front office and the coaching staff in New England. But we can sit here and point the fingers at Bill Belichick all that we want. And certainly he has a lot to do with this. But Bill Belichick is gone at this point. He is not walking through that door, as Rick Pitino would say. And most of this is on Patriots owner Robert Kraft. Okay, and Gillette Stadium is what? It opened in 2002, so we're going on 22 seasons at that stadium at this point. Most NFL teams are in newer facilities now, or at least half, and their facility is getting outdated. And Robert Kraft, other than updating this lighthouse and opening a nice bar in the upper deck and, changing some of the fan experiences on the field, really hasn't done a lot to revamp the practice facility for Patriots players. And this needs to be a major priority for him heading into this offseason as an owner. And it's going to cost him some money to do so, because looking at it right now, I know the Patriots probably going to have 100 plus million in cap space, the most in the NFL, but every team in the league also just got a $30 million bump in cap space themselves. So with that in mind, it really kind of hurts them. And why would free agents want to come here knowing this information? Even if you're overpaying, it's like, okay, I still have to pay Massachusetts state income tax, so that's going to take a chunk out of my salary. So you're going to have to overpay to compensate for that. And I have to go play not in Boston, not in Providence, in Foxborough, Massachusetts, spending November, December, and potentially January there practicing in brutally cold weather with a coaching staff that has a reputation of just throwing their players out there because we want them to be tough. And maybe that's a draw to some players, but for the vast majority, they're going to be looking at teams like Miami, Tampa, Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Arizona, Las Vegas, teams with newer facilities, with better weather, that are really going to accommodate the players in ways the Patriots have not. And what is the draw at this point, other than, hey, we might overpay you because we have a lot of cap space? They're coming off of a 4-win season. We all like Gerard Mayo in New England. He's been great as a player. He's been great coaching the defense. But nobody knows who the hell this guy is outside of New England, right? And it's going to take at least a season for him to build up a reputation for players to want to come there. And all of these fixes, whether it is the locker room or upping the weights or providing certain rooms to family, that's going to take more than a season to fix, right? Like, we're going to hopefully have a better report card in New England heading into next season, but most of this stuff is going to take a little while to fix for Robert Kraft, especially updating the locker room and the weight room. Now, that being said, some of this can be fixed right away, right? Treatment of families, at least acknowledging them, coaches communicating with players, listening to their input, using their time more efficiently, more effectively. All of these NFL stadiums have a lot of conference rooms. I don't think it takes much to delegate one of those rooms to families. I don't think it takes much to hire some staff who can be in charge of daycare and have another room doing that. You could probably combine them into the same room if you want. Robert Kraft, Gillette Stadium is not that old, right? Like, they have conference rooms. They have things that they can work with in which they can accommodate families and their children. They can take care of that right away. And I hope Robert Kraft is taking this report card into consideration. Now, it's the NFLPA. They're just one large stakeholder in the NFL, but they have a major voice, particularly for the players. They are the voice of the players, and they listen to this. They look at these report cards, and they take these factors into consideration. particularly in free agency. It's great in the draft because you can just take a player and they're forced to play for your team for at least 4 seasons, right? But you want to bring in a Mike Evans. You want to bring in a Tyron Smith. You want to go after a guy like Kirk Cousins. You're going to need to up this report card and at least get into the middle there. And the Patriots, the only mediocre grade, like I said, is the food and cafeteria, which is 15th overall. Even there is room for improvement. Dietitian, nutrition. I mean, this is the house that Tom Brady built, the TB12 facility, which I'm not sure if that's still open at Patriot Place, but he prioritized diet and all of that, but he had to go outside of the building to do that. And all these players are having to go outside of the building to get the proper nutrition, to get the proper off-season training program in, to get the proper weight room in. This is a really poor reflection, not just on Bill Belichick. We're moving on from him at this point. This is a poor reflection on Robert Kraft. And look, Robert Kraft's getting some good PR right now, right, with the Dynasty, where he was part of that production, and he, has his name on it in the credits at the end of every episode, and everything is just, oh, well, we're throwing Bill Belichick under the bus. I did everything I could. I had Belichick's back during Spygate. I'm sure he's going to say I had Belichick and Brady's back during Deflategate, which, again, I think was a silly scandal. But he's going to take a PR hit for this, certainly, and this is not going to help the Patriots in free agency this year. And because of that, yes, they have a lot of cap space to work with, but they're going to have to overpay, not just to bring in some star free agents like Mike Evans or Calvin Ridley, who probably aren't coming here, let's be honest, or Tyron Smith or Kirk Cousins. It's also going to be hard for bringing back Michael Onwenu or Kyle Duggar or Hunter Henry or Josh Uche or some of these guys that really are the foundation of this team for what actually has been working in New England, because they look at this report card and they go, Las Vegas, that stadium's only a couple years old. They have a Taj Mahal of practice facilities, as Bill Belichick said a couple seasons ago. Why don't I just go there? I can deal with warm weather. I can practice indoors during the summer and practice outside during the winter. They use their players' time more effectively under their new head coach. Why would I go to New England where I'm going to be treated like crap? My family's not going to be taken into consideration. This is a full team effort, right? Robert Kraft has to invest money into upgrading these facilities, particularly the locker room, particularly the weight room. They need to delegate space for families, for children, for daycare. They need to up the nutrition in the cafeteria, even though they aren't as bad there as some of the other teams. And Gerard Mayo has to be a great communicator, which seems to be one of the pros of bringing him in there. He needs to be someone that the players feel like they can communicate with, they can get input with, and that they listen to, and who uses their time more effectively, because Bill Belichick certainly had a very militaristic approach as a head coach. That's just part of his nature. That's part of the reason the Patriots worked out for so long, is he treats game planning as if he's going into a battle, right? And he exploits the weaknesses of other teams. He's basically taking from Sun Tzu's The Art of War, right? And yeah, maybe that still works from a game planning standpoint, but the NFL is moving a very different direction for young players who are now being paid during their college careers, are now entering the NFL as multimillionaires. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, they're going to be millionaires already before they even sign the dotted line and get their first NFL contract. So Patriots have a lot of work to do here, and I think this is a poor reflection, not just on Bill Belichick, but Robert Kraft, and he has a lot of cleanup to do. I think Gerard Mayo, just simply his aura, his presence is going to make up a lot for this, but he's still going to have to work at it as well. So that's it for this episode of Pat's Cast. We'll be back tomorrow for more coverage, particularly of the NFL Scouting Combine. Be sure to watch yesterday's podcast, where I broke down Elliot Wolf's recent press conference, where he talked about the changing culture of the organization, the way they're grading players, the way the team sounds like they really are prioritizing the quarterback position at number 3 overall. They just wrapped up an interview yesterday evening with Jaden Daniels. They'll be interviewing Drake May and Caleb Williams as well. So we'll see what comes out of that. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel on YouTube and subscribe on Apple Podcasts as well. And we'll see you tomorrow.